Outside of rush hour traffic, a car from Times Square to Central Park in New York might cost you around $17. Now fast forward 3 hours. As more people are looking for cars, that same ride might cost closer to $24. If you've taken a trip like this or bought a plane ticket, you know to expect big price swings based on demand, time, or location. But did you know that those price swings are happening all over the economy, and often in places where you might not expect, like on your laundry detergent or even a blouse? These changes are part of a high-tech and fast-spreading strategy called dynamic pricing. And as prices around us are rising faster than they have in 4 decades, to understand why things cost what they do, you have to understand how it works. Dynamic pricing is a strategy businesses use to change their prices automatically and ensure that they are offering the optimal price at any given moment in time.
And that basically means that they're varying their pricing essentially based upon market conditions. So things like cost, what their competitors are doing, and even demand.
Because those factors can change quickly, some businesses are updating prices more often. In February, 75% of retailers on QuickLizard, a pricing software platform, said they increased how often they update their prices in the last year. So where can you spot dynamic pricing other than rideshare companies and airlines? You probably recognize it with gas prices, where the price of a gallon can change daily. Or on Amazon, which has been using dynamic pricing for years. Their changes are usually less noticeable, but they allow Amazon to determine the most competitive price for everything from electronics to household items. For example, here's the price of these Tide Pods over a day at the beginning of April. In the morning, it hit $21.49. By noon, it dropped to $21.24. And by evening, it had dropped even lower to $19.99. A spokesperson from Amazon said the company's prices fluctuate so they can meet or beat the lowest competitive price from other retailers. But this is what dynamic pricing looks like in action, and you may start seeing similar strategies in brick-and-mortar stores too. Chains like Kohl's and Best Buy have rolled out electronic price tags, some of which almost look like paper price tags, making it easier and quicker to change the price on, say, a display of televisions.
All right, so I'm at Best Buy and they got Lego, and that's cool and all, but check it out. They're moving to all digital price tags.
And the supermarket chain Kroger has tested digital labels that can change prices on items in seconds. But seeing these frequent price changes in stores can be surprising for customers.
If you chat with someone who's in the grocery store on a week-to-week basis, they know how much they're paying for a dozen eggs. They know how much they're paying for a gallon of milk. They know how much they're paying for, their fruits, their vegetables. And when those types of prices change, people can be very resistant and it can be a big turnoff.
But under certain conditions, companies are willing to take the risk.
Companies will go to dynamic pricing when more traditional ways of pricing are no longer working for them. So maybe they have previously changed their prices once a quarter, maybe once a month, and they're starting to notice that their costs are shifting so much throughout the month or the quarter that their margins are getting squeezed more than they would like.
When most businesses decide to start using dynamic pricing, they use software to track various factors.
There will be a range, a huge number of algorithms whose role is, again, to mimic the choices that humans make. But because it's being done in an automated way, we're able to set prices much more frequently or much more granularly than if you're doing it without the automation.
A dynamic pricing algorithm for a gas station might look at the cost of fuel, competitor prices, and alternatives that customers might have.
What dynamic pricing would allow me to do is, instead of having, a single point of view that is driven by the price of crude, I actually could have a very granular point of view on individual competitors and what my delivered cost is of the fuel, and then execute those price changes on a very frequent basis.
But that algorithm might look different for a grocery store. They might look at competitor prices, but they also might consider cost of goods and what they know customers are willing to pay more on. But even if a business uses dynamic pricing, those rules might not affect everything you buy there.
There are a few exceptions where prices are largely fixed and they're actually being set by the manufacturer. Examples of that would be jeans. There's certain types of sneakers or athletic apparel where the manufacturer also sets the prices. And then prestige cosmetics is a third where you see a lot of manufacturers set pricing. But beyond that, where the retailer is actually able to set their price, dynamic pricing can be applicable across the store.
As more companies use dynamic pricing, you might start noticing it more often, especially during periods of inflation like the one we're in now.
You could be, visiting a store that has been using dynamic pricing for a long time, but now you're noticing that the prices of things are changing a lot. And that's not because they're doing something different, that's because the inputs are changing more frequently.
The adoption of dynamic pricing is expected to continue, and mom and pop shops and local retailers are starting to experiment with it as well as big box stores.